Alright, 1330 seconds is the correct size. Now, I'm not positive if this is cast iron or cast steel, but it's cast either way. I'm going to drill it by hand, and hopefully get it accurate enough. Trying to get it set up in the mill to drill it would be quite the pain. And the other reason I'm going with the 12 millimeter first is because it's smaller than the half by 13, and if I screw this up, I can drill it back out and do it with the other. Well, that's acting like cast iron. Nice. Love Ryobi stuff, but I'll tell you what, keyless chucks sure do annoy me sometimes. And the battery's partly dead too, so there we go. Okay. Now I'm going to have to hand tap this. I don't trust, because I have a just a regular carbon steel 4-fluted tap, hand tap. I think it's in my best interest to tap it by hand. We'll see. Maybe I'll try it under power. Hopefully I won't regret it. Okay, I'm going to try it under power because I don't know. I'm lazy. I just want to see. Learning experience, whatever you want to call it. So. Cast iron's probably supposed to be done dry. I'm not real sure. I'm going to use a lube here because this is, yeah, drip all over the place. I'm going to use a cutting fluid because it's a cheap tap, and I really don't want to have it bind up and snap in there. So I'm using the 3/8 impact. Okay, reason for that is like when you're driving lag bolts and stuff like that, the hammering action. This is my assumption with the tap. I've used it before and it worked beautiful, but I was using some different taps and doing it in steel. The drill provides constant torque, and when it binds up, boom, it just overpowers it and snaps it. With the impact, it sits there and keeps hammering it. Gives you a chance to back off a bit if it doesn't go in, but it really works a whole lot better on lag bolts and stuff like this, so we'll see. Okay, now when you're using a tap as well, you also want to, it builds a burr up in front there because it's not trying to push it either way, it's just building it right up in front of the cut. So you want to back it back out and break that burr off. So you just have to back it up enough so that the next flute comes back and snaps that off. And it looks like I don't have enough oomph here to oh, man. Be doing a different video here. Wow. That locked that friggin' thing on there, man. Oh. Ow. It's such a pretty knurled job, you know. I should put something around it to... oh. It turned in there instead of letting loose. Okay. Not quite what I hoped for, but wow. Oh, I guess I'm just going to take it out and fight with the holder on its own. All All right, we'll see if I can do this without blocking too much of it in the camera there. I did this one basically to prove it would work and that stuff, because it was taking quite a bit of time and that. And anyway, so what I'm doing is I went ahead and up the power there to the 1/2 inch. So I'm going to go ahead and get a good bit of oil on there. This is a slightly different tapping fluid. So even though this one still drives it in a little easier, still want to back it up and break that chip off so we don't jam it in there and snap it. See any of that steam, the heat there or whatever? Okay. And that should do it. Okay, now, there was a reason I pulsed it coming back. Had I just powered that thing out and it bound up on chips or jammed or anything like that, I could snap it off coming out just as easily as I could snap it off going in. So keep that in mind. You don't want to just get all excited and pull it out super quick, that kind of thing. So let's see. So oops. Let's throw the rod in it. The other, again in the way. The other reason for going with this rod instead of the eye-bolt. The eye-bolt is basically the equivalent, I think it's about a grade 2, probably. Maybe a grade 5, but I don't think so. It's not classified as hardened, so I'm sure it's more down around a grade 2. This rod I'm using here, this is actually a metric. It's a 10.9, and 10.9 is the equivalent of a SAE grade 8 bolt. Okay, so this is a nice hardened bolt. I shouldn't have any problem. That's done. Let's move on to the next step. Okay, I had it flipped over. I took a transfer punch, and you can see just how much wobble there is in there. So I'm not trusting that I'm going to get a accurate enough line to find the middle of these holes. Okay, so what I'm doing, I threaded the rod in here so that I can come in here with the caliper, okay, and try to get it nice and flat and square and measure to the side of the bolt there, okay. Now that's 0.250. Now it's obviously more than a 1/2 inch, and that's because of the amount of space that's here on the caliper, okay. I don't care about that. I'm going to take that measurement, then measure the rod, take half the distance, half the thickness of the rod, the diameter, and add it to my other measurement, and that should put me right in the middle. And then I can take the calipers and on the other side scribe a line that should run right through the middle of those bolts. Before I call it good though, I'm going to take this one, I'm going to put the rod up in here and make sure that these two are pretty much centered, and if they're not, then I'll with each other, and if they're not, I'll split the difference to get my measurement for the other side. Alright, I'm not sure if you can make out both of them, but you can see right here, that's where the transfer punch, you know, where I scribed that line to get an idea, you know, where they were. When I measured these to the sidewall, like I said I was gonna, they came out, they are right in line with each other nicely. So what I've done, the measurement I came up with was 0.474, okay. So I've set the caliper to that, and there is a lock right here, okay, and when you tighten that down, the calipers won't move, okay. So now what I can do, we'll see if I can do this with the camera kind of in the way, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to hold the caliper. Alright, and it looks like I got it pretty straight. The other hole back there may not be quite lined up, but that's part of the transfer punch. Now these are hardened Okay, you wouldn't necessarily want to go around doing this on stainless steel all the time and stuff like that, but it's perfectly acceptable, as far as I know, to scribe a line with the calipers like that. So that gets me where I want. And let's see if I can just get a little more mark on the end there. There we go. And I'm trying to make sure I keep the calipers, you know, from wandering all over, because you can see, you know, if you move too much there, you're going to be off there. So anyway, that got that. Now I'll have to find a way to clamp this in the vise or in the mill and get an angle on that and cut a V, blah blah blah. Let's see if I can figure that out. All right, we're getting a little creative here. Okay, I don't have this clamped in here very tight. Now part of the reason is that there's a slight taper here, this cast piece, and cast usually isn't very square, and if you can see that, you can see there's a slight gap here and it's tight here. So I don't want to crank the vise down. I don't want to dent either my jaws or the part, anything like that. So first I got to figure out how I'm going to hold it. Then I'll be more concerned with how to set my angle correctly. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this at a 45 so that when I cut it with the end mill, okay, it will have a 90, and I'll get a 90-degree groove. It'll go straight down and over, okay. This will be tilted at 45. I'll get a 45, a nice V in there, okay. And if I can set the corner of that right on that scribe line and run it back and forth. Now I got to make sure I got clearance here. I might have to see if I got a longer mill, end mill bit tool. But what I'm going to do is I need to put some aluminum in here, okay, because the aluminum I can crush on the aluminum and get a much better bite in here without hurting either the jaw or that stuff, and the aluminum is sacrificial. Now, I hit it with the wire wheel, but I want to make sure that these things are fairly flat, and I got a couple burrs here, so I'm going to come in here with a file, clean these up a little bit, make sure everything's scraped out of the middle there as well. And this is amateur hour for Dat Rod. John, hope you like this. He's a real machinist, and I envy all his tools and abilities. So, as long as it comes out the way I want, you know, hey, close enough. Somebody told me once before that I told them I wasn't a real machinist. They're like, well, you make chips, so you must be a real machinist. And I still beg to differ with them, but, you know, whatever. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to work on that a little bit, check on the end mill and that stuff, see if it's long enough, figure out how to measure my angle, and show you how it comes out. Okay, I think I figured out how to get it accurate here. Okay, these are a set of reference angles, basically. They're 45, 45, 90, and 30, 60, 90 degree angle plates. Okay, so I know that this is 45 degrees. Okay, so the bottom of my vise here is ground, and it's parallel. Okay, it's nice and flat. It's perfect. The base of the part here is also ground, or, you know, and finished and everything like that. It's machined because that's what it spins on the attachment. So what I'm going to do is try to carefully leave just enough tension on there that I can still move it, and try to see. Stupid progressive glasses. All right, that looks pretty good, actually. Check the other side there. Yeah, that's pretty darn close. Okay, so I'm gonna crank it down good and tight. It'll push into the aluminum here a bit. And I've got it centered on the vise, okay? I don't want to put it off on either side and have it twist, because then it may not grab as well. On the bench vise, there's enough slop in the jaws, it would absorb that angle and work okay. But with the vise for the middle, not something I want to do. Okay, I like that. let's now let's look at seeing if we can get the end mill cutter in there. All right, you can see that in the video there. See how that's tilted? I got the angle correct, okay, but I didn't get it up and down here correct, okay. So when I brought the tool down close to the scribe line and I ran it from front to back, it's actually twisted. So it's going to take me a bit of testing going back and forth to get that all perfect. But the first thing I noticed was the height there. Exactly how to get it perfectly square this way, that's just going to be trial and error because I don't have a machined surface here. Now I suppose I could clamp this in and actually machine those edges. And that just might end up being the ticket. But the reality is that as long as I'm within a few thousandths, everything else is adjustable. You know, but I don't want to screw it up too bad kind of thing, or have it too far off for holding this pipe, and then down the road I need something with more precision and have to redo it or buy another one. Not what I want to do. So anyway, what we're going to do here is these parallels are just a hair short, okay? So what I need to do is I'm hitting over here on the aluminum. So when I loosen it up, I'm going to pull the aluminum out to where it only hits the side of the body here, okay? And then that should let this whole thing drop down a little bit and hit the parallels. And that should get me square that way. Now, whether or not, you know, like I said, I still have to figure out how to get it square the other way. So, pull that one forward. They're about the same length, so let's hope. Okay, so now, yes, I'm on the parallels there. That works. Let me get the 45 back out. Because, you know, I thought I did it right once already, but apparently not. Oh, yeah, there we go. Okay, I like that. Get it down a little bit snug. And then I'm going to put the tool back down close there. Of course I'm, yeah, of course I'm up against the camera there. Okay, so let's come over here a little bit more. Okay, let's try a different angle here. Okay, so this is what takes all the time is, you know, if you don't quite know what you're doing and don't have exactly the right tools, stuff like that, you know. Anyway, what's going on here is I got it level this way with the parallels, okay. Now my problem is getting it square this way. I've got the 45, that's not a problem either. So I got to take it back out. I think I figured out how to do it. Basically, I have these. Well, I'll show you here. Let me get the part out of the way first. Okay, so what these are is. Whoops, that wasn't good. Okay, just eyeballing. I want this roughly in the middle where it's going to pinch. I'm roughly at a 45. I'm going to use this as a stop. I've got about a 1/4 inch here. Let me turn this back around. Okay, so this is a jaw clamp. What the heck's the... a work stop. So basically, you know, let's say I was machining this. Every time I put another one in, I could just go right up against that and clamp it. Okay. So what I need to try to do now is get it to where this one is on this side with this edge exactly in line with that one, or as close as I can get it. So let's let's see if we can figure that out. And I'm pretty sure the camera's probably going to be focused on the sandblaster in the back there, so let's move that a little bit and see what happens. Okay. Haven't used this one before, so it's nowhere close to the okay, that's close. So let's put it over here. Okay, that might be close. Let's pick a different way here. It's good practice to always watch all the chips and everything like that, wipe your edges and stuff like that when you start putting this stuff together, because sooner or later it's going to be critical that you get rid of that stuff, because that is going to be an issue. And it just dawned on me here that they're two different heights, so I'll have to figure out something a little different, but that gets my edge exactly where I want it. Alright, I like that. Let's get that snug down, and then let me figure out the next step. Alright, that would be tight enough. Thought time. Okay, I took the work stops back out because I think I figured out a way to do it. The work stops were two different heights. That was a bit of a challenge. So now I put it back in, got my parallels in there, got my 45 set where I want it, and what I thought was the same way I was doing the work stops. I thought, hey, let me check my 45 again. Just bumped the handle there, and I didn't have it clamped very tight. Oh yeah, that looks okay. So the aluminum is close enough. Now this side is that way too much, okay? So the aluminum should slide on the vice jaw here without giving me too much grief. Let me find something else to tap it with, so that way I can hit just on the vice jaw. And I'll prop the flashlight up there so I can get some light back there on the gap. Alright, we're getting pretty close here. Looks like a little bit more. You know, I'm expecting the jaw to move with the aluminum. And it is. Oh, but then again, let's make sure I put my square back to where it's supposed to be, since that's moving with the jaw as well. Oh yeah, good thing I checked. We're closer than I thought. Alright, some of this is quite tedious, so I don't blame people if they don't follow along. You have that option. I pretty much have to do this, so a little bit more. You know, and if I just buy another matching work stop, that would have been that'd be the easiest thing, just not the most timely thing, since I don't have come on, still just a bit more. looks like it. Let's make sure I didn't mess up my 45 by hitting right on the jaw there. Yeah, it's tweaked a little bit. You know, and the reality is when guys are making stuff for you manually, that's why it costs so darn much, because they got to go through all this kind of crap for one-time setups. They're not going to go out and buy or make some fancy jig for a one-off item. You know, so they'll go through a lot of this same kind of stuff. Of course, now I'm sure they've got a lot more experience and time, so they know which way to do it right off the bat. I'm guessing. I don't know. Maybe they figure it out as they go. Like I am. I like that. Everything's right there. So now I'm going to put some grunt behind the... I'm not going to be taking very heavy cuts or anything like that, but I want to make sure that it just can't vibrate around. So, since there's a chance that the vice jaws could have moved and shifted a little bit. Yeah, see, this side is that way a little bit more. So let's see if we can... It's not there. Not even sure I can move that with it clamped down. Alright, well, I'll tell you what, you guys have the idea what I'm doing. I'm going to tweak it some more here. This is already way too long. Alright, I'm not even sure. I'm going to post the other video. I may. Anyway, I probably will, just so that people can see the mistakes. Anyway, basically, after all of the effort of getting it in there and getting everything lined up as close as I thought I could possibly get it and that stuff, I put the tool down next to the line and ran back and forth. And it was still twisted this way and twisted this way. And I was like, oh man. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to square up the jaws here a bit with some milling and get myself some better surfaces to clamp to, so that I don't have to try to mess with the aluminum and stuff like that. So now, in clamping this, okay, first off, let's make sure everything's clean. Now, there's a slight radius right up here in that corner, okay? So if I try to clamp it down there, I don't know if you can see that, it'll lift it up. Now, I want to make sure that it lifts it up evenly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in here, the parallel. That is going to hold the machined surface that's up on the underside of that jaw there perfectly flat, and nothing's going to touch that radius. Okay, so I'll hold that square. The aluminum there is to take up any of the difference from the because it's cast on this side. Okay, so let's just give it a little tap there. I got the jaws snug, but I want to make sure it's down good. So let's give it a nice, I think we're tight enough there. And, almost looks like it's tilting it this way just a little bit. So let me play with that a little bit. What I want to do is I want to get it perfectly flat. I've got a radius here too, so maybe what I need to do is put the other parallel in here so that this doesn't lift up as I'm clamping it. What I'm going to do though is I'm just going to machine this down, you know, 3/8 of an inch or so, ½ inch, whatever I can get there, and then that'll be nice and perfectly parallel with this side of the jaw. Okay, then I can flip it around. Now I am referencing the jaw to the back of the vise, not to the front here, because if there's any slop or play, this is where it's going to be. So not only that, as you can see the way it hung over the backside, I get a lot more bite on it there. So let me see if I can figure out how to get that perfectly flat. Alright, battery's about to die here, but in order to get this perfectly flat with the jaw here, because of this curve, I was clamping up on the top here and the jaw was raising and it was pulling it out. So basically what I did was got a couple of thick nuts there, put them into the recesses, and clamp down that way. So I'm nice and flat up here and I'm flat up here. So now I can go ahead and mill this edge and have it perfect with the inside of that jaw. So I'll get that done, and then I'll be able to do the other side and go from there.